Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love. Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one. This is your boy Rod One, and this is Convo Corner, y'all, our special segment that we do where we talk to some of the world's most interesting people, but on another level. Like I like to say, the people that we talk to on Convo Corner are those that choose to believe in themselves. We have so many people out here who find it hard to just be them and allow what the gift that God gave them to be that muse that they use for the world to recognize who they are. So many people are afraid to use that gift because of what it may come with. It comes with a whole lot of sacrifice and it comes with a whole lot of other things. But the one thing that it comes with, it's a lonely place to believe in yourself, right? Because everybody's not going to get your vision. Everybody's not going to be able to understand why you get up late or why you go do this early or why you believe so strongly in what you do. It's not going to translate to everybody. Unfortunately, we all have people that we have in our lives throughout different courses of our lives that are there to help either teach us a lesson or direct us to a different path. And a lot of times people allow the people to come around them to take them to another path versus teaching them the lesson they need to learn about being able to hone in on the gift that was given to you. And so we got another guest for y'all today that we're going to chop it up and figure out what's going on in his world that I hope y'all all get inspired from as well. But before I do that, you know what I got to do? I got to bring up my co-host because she's a connection, right? She's how we get these people on the platform. So we always got to make sure we give her a super shout out. So Gloria, what's good with you?
Hello, Ron.
Hey. How are you? How are you?
Well, and I hope you are too today.
Yeah, I'm good. And listen, like I say, you the bridge in between that world that we talk to in the world where people look at people as celebrity, right? So with everyone that you've been able to connect us with and had us on the platform, they've all been some of the most down-to-earth people that it just, for the most part, these people come with so much stigma, but these people that you've had on are nothing like the stigma that they give to people who consider themselves celebrities, right? So I think that's a good thing, because like you were saying before, there's a lot of people that stand in the way of people and opportunity when they get to a certain level.
Yep, exactly right. Well, you're right about that, Rob, but I'm really excited about the guest that we have on the platform today, Jonathan. And he's a gospel singer. And anytime anybody wants to represent the Lord, I'm all for him because
Right.
in this date and time, we need somebody to bring some inspiration, whether it's through a song or word or whatever, to help this sad world we live in. So I'm just glad that he's on the platform today and promoting his new album. And I'm sure he's got a lot to tell us about it.
That's dope. So let's not wait any further. Let's bring the brother Jonathan up right now. What's going on, bro?
Hey, can y'all hear me well?
Yeah.
Hear me good. Yeah, I'm thankful, man. Glad to be here and thankful for Miss Gloria allowing me to come on this platform. This is a blessing.
Yeah, man. And we're thankful for you coming on, right? Because, you could have done a whole lot of other things, but you decided to lend us some of your time to share with the people. So we definitely appreciate you as well.
Yes, sir.
So before we get into too much, let's go ahead and have you introduce yourself to the audience, right? And just let everybody know what you do and how you give it up.
My name is Jonathan McLaughlin. We're actually Elder Jonathan McLaughlin. I'm a minister. Been in the record business for about 30 years now. Actually, and it's kind of ironic how the Lord allowed me to put out a project and didn't do it on purpose. But on my 30th anniversary, I just released a new project called Unannounced. So that's what I want to talk to you all today about. But I am so thankful that God has allowed me to do that. But 30 years in the business, I'm living in Greenville, South Carolina. Been in South Carolina over 20 some years. Originally from Virginia. So I'm very thankful to be here and also to have an opportunity to talk about this.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, just in your background, yo, you got the tapes, and it look like it's the CDs under you. This is gonna be great because you definitely are into your music. I'm gonna be honest with you because yeah, that's nostalgic. That's sitting back there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know that looks kind of funny this day and age to have CDs and stuff, but man, I still rock with a lot of the CDs and tapes from the old days. So thank
Yeah, man. And the sound is different too, right? You
you.
know, especially depending on if your car or your vehicle that you have is equipped to play a CD or a tape. Not many of them nowadays you can do that with. So unless you buy one and put it in.
Yep.
But let's do this, man. Let's let everybody, because I think it's always good to start at the beginning, right? Music is a passion of mine, right? So I want to just talk to you a little bit right now before we get into your album. It's about, at what point in your life did music hit you to the point where you felt like this was something that you got to pursue? Because 30 years in the business, that's quite a good amount of time.
Give you a strange testimony, or a very strange thing. My mother and father were ministers and had a church, and my brother was our musician at the church. And he went off to school. He had to go to school, and we had no musician at the church. So my mother come downstairs one Sunday morning and said, "Well, today is your day to start playing the organ for the church." I was about 15 years old. And I looked at her, I said, "I can't play the organ. I ain't never played no organ." She said, "Well, the Lord said, today is your day to start playing the organ." And she walked out the room. The minute she walked out the room, now this is going to be strange to a lot of people, but the Holy Ghost stood up in the room. And I was looking at a man just like I'm looking at you. And I would move to the right, he moved to the right. I moved to the left, he moved to the left. Finally, when I went forward to try to go out the door, he grabbed me. And we wrestled. And before I knew it, I was crying and telling him that I'll do it. It left. I went upstairs, and I've been playing the organ and playing music and doing music ever since.
Let me ask you this. Do you play by ear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. And you never played you never had played the organ before you stepped into the church?
Hadn't played never before. I was the drummer. And that particular day, she said, "Today was your day." And from that point on, I've been playing the organ for the church.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow, divine intervention. So what that helps me to understand is that when it comes down to our gifts, a lot of times, I say this on the platform all the time, really, to be honest, is that some of us don't really know what we have in us. We just know that it's things that we like.
Right.
But we don't know the full potential of everything that's have in us. We have so much that makes our DNA us or makes us special. It's that very seldom do people get to experience the different things that make them, right? Because their environment don't allow them to do so. The good thing about you is that you grew up in a space where your gifts could be utilized immediately, right? You didn't have to stumble upon it like me, right? I didn't grow up, my house was full of music, but no musicians. Right. So I found it by being in different places, by just being in the studio because somebody else was going and they just asked me to go with them and that type of thing. Or, my road to wherever I got to doing, music came at just by following that voice saying go. Instead of playing and hanging out, it was saying go, and I just followed that. So I equate that to the man that stood up in the room with you, because I figured you probably a little bit more stubborn than me. I'm from Jersey, so it ain't too much that we don't want to do that'll keep us out of trouble. Anything that's gonna keep us out of trouble, they ain't get no fight from me. But for you,
well, it was the shyness. It was the shyness that kept me, that kept me from going out. I don't think it was so much the actual playing. It was just shy and afraid.
Gotcha.
And afraid. So
yeah, but you overcame that fear. I think that's something that we should talk about a little bit. overcoming fear of
Mhm.
because being shy is one thing, but was you worried about not being good?
I don't
Because
I
you was
don't even
already the drummer.
I don't even think it was that. I think it was more so for me. I just didn't want that light. I didn't want that light. I didn't want where some people run to that shine. I
Yeah.
wanted to stay in the background and just do me. And I had found the comfort zone in playing those drums, so that was comfortable for me. I was fine with that. So it was always the light, and it has always been the light. Really, to be honest with you, in my life, because I'm a background kind of guy. But God has always pushed me to the front and made me kind of stand out. But the person have always wanted to kind of be in the background.
Gotcha. So whenever you got to church that first day
Hmm.
and you had to play the organ, how did it go? Like
Man,
how did,
I knew one little tune. I knew one little tune that everybody probably know. You know that dun 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 dun. Dun. I knew
Yeah.
one little tune, and my sisters and them were the singers. So my sister, she would come to, we gonna sing such and such. I'm like, just sing whatever, because I can't play one tune in. So the funny part about it is they started fitting their song to my tune.
gotcha.
For the whole service, we were singing different songs, but it was the exact same
Dun,
tune.
dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
And they would say, eyes have not seen or whatever, right with
You
that. That worked
Right,
out.
right. Yo, but that's so fly, man, because I take the places that people find themselves discovering who they really are, it come at some of the most strangest places. You would expect it to be in a church like most people would think, because church is not necessarily a place where you can explore your gift. Your gift is a little bit more controlled
Mhm.
in a church setting, right? It's not one of them things where it's like, okay, play this type of music so you can learn this person or play that. It's like,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
you got to learn
This.
you got to do this. This is what you learn. CC Winans in them. You got to get it, or whoever. This
Mhm.
is you.
Mhm.
Because I noticed that. But how were you able to go from to being able to expand who you are? Because that's
It-
important.
yeah, very much so. I was determined at that point, after that first Sunday, to know
Mm-hmm.
something different next week. And luckily, my sister and them invested in me, bought a little keyboard for me, brought it to the house, a little amplifier. Her husband they went out and purchased. So I sit there when I would get home from school, I would play. I would just play. I would listen to music. I would play, just trying to pick up something different each week. And I'm gonna say,
Right.
after several months of that, God has started opening up my mind to where I could really kind of understand what I was really trying to do. But
Oh,
it took me taking a step for him to take the second step.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's what we want to get to, because that's the hardest part is people expect that when something is tied to God that it's automatically going to happen for you, like it's nothing that you're supposed to do in
Mhm.
order to make it happen.
Right.
But the good thing is that you overcame your fear, your shyness,
Mhm.
and your lack of understanding too, because most people would have been like, look, I don't know how to play, I don't
Right.
know how to do that,
Correct.
right?
Mhm.
But you like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Well, after seeing whoever that was in your room, I probably would have.
Yeah, I didn't want no more of that.
anything.
I
Hey,
didn't
you
want.
know what I'm saying? Because he ain't give you no name or nothing. So he probably come back when he want to. I'd have been like, yeah, nah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
I didn't want no more of that. That was like wrestling with a bear.
Well, let me ask you,
Man, yeah.
Jonathan. I want to
Yes.
ask Jonathan this question. I
Mhm.
know he started at the age of 15
Mhm.
playing in church. Did you ever like stray away and go into the world and try to play different kind of music?
The funny part, I never ever really played, other than helped a couple of guys, but I never played any other kind of music. Now, out in the world, yeah, I've done that. But
Right.
but the musical side, no, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But That's cool too, because I think in gospel music and maybe country music, and I want to say certain facets of R&B, it kind of all at some point give you that same feeling, depending on who and what you are and what the vocalist is singing and what the words are displaying. It just depends, right? Because you got the sounds of blackness, right?
Mhm.
And Keep Your Head to the Sky was never one of those promoted as a gospel record,
Oh yeah.
right? But whenever you hear that song, immediately it'll give you that feeling about, man, if you could just keep believing in God, like if you keep believing in God, you can win,
Yes,
because
you
that's
can
the
win.
song.
That's
You
the
can
song.
win.
You can
As
win.
long
Yeah.
as you keep your head to the sky, you can win. So, but it wasn't marketed as a gospel record. It was
Right.
never in that space. It was always in the space of contemporary music, right? Not even just R&B. It was on all kind of charts, but never, marketed as a gospel record. But that's what I mean by sometimes having genres kind of box us in as creatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you're producing, did you produce your own records since you play now or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yes,
when
sir.
was your first song you recorded?
The first, I actually recorded a choir, but I even kind of fell into that, the producing side. Um, I ain't gonna say by accident, but I kind of just fell into it. I was actually the music director for a choir, a mass choir in the North Carolina area. Dr. Ron
Mm,
Bigelow in the Interdenominational Fellowship Choir.
Mhm.
And he had inspirations to actually do a recording. At that point, I hadn't wrote any songs. I was just his musician. And we got a chance to talk to Dottie People's people, her musicians, and just talking to them and listening to them. Then all of a sudden, my interest kind of, sparked on it. Like, man, this is a cool thing. So I turned around at that point, and once we started putting the project together, it just kind of fell in my lap to where
gotcha.
we needed somebody to take charge and take the lead role. And that's what happened. I actually started figuring it out. It's the best way to say it. And God kind of set it up for me where I was able to learn and figure out what I was doing as we was moving forward.
Gotcha. So on that end, the production part, so you were creating the tracks for the singers, or were you just doing the
This was
recording?
back in '97. Actually, '96 is when we actually started. But what happened was he wrote a few songs. By that time in the process, I had wrote a few songs. So we was just collaborating. We were
Gotcha.
collaborating, and we had a very, very good band for his choir. So it was able for, and we had a lot of time. And I don't know where all that time then went, but we had a lot of time at that point to kind of practice and put things together and actually make this thing work. So that's kind of how I got started.
Gotcha. So y'all would, before y'all ever recorded the record, you pretty much performed the songs,
Yes.
right? With the band, got everybody together. And
Mhm.
so with the different pieces of the band, did you have to tell them what to play? Or did you record the tracks first and then give them the tracks and let them
No,
listen?
we actually, what we would do is we would sit down and I would give them an idea of what I was thinking, what I thought would work with some of the lyrics that we was putting together. And then they were using their own creativity to kind of input into what we was doing until where we was able to find something that, like, man, that's nice, and this will work.
Mm,
And that was the kind of thing, and then we'll get with the leader, the director of the choir, and show him what we put together for this, and that's how it all kind of came about.
gotcha. All right. So at that point, you did that for the choir. So when did you take, interest in saying, you know what, I got more in me that I want to get out personally? Because you sing,
I
right?
don't sing.
Which
I
part do
don't
you
sing.
do?
I write, I
Mm-hmm.
play, I teach, I
Gotcha.
train. So the singing part for me is enough to teach and train. But I have artists and singers that's actually make up the actual vocal
Song.
side of it. Yeah, but I actually write everything. I lay everything out, and I teach the parts, teach them where we need to go, write the lyrics, and lay it all out. Singing, I probably could if I tried, but that's one of them things that the Holy Ghost didn't jump on me about.
Yeah.
so I think I'm still shy when it comes down to trying to sing a song, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
most definitely can teach it, and I know when it ain't right, and I know when it is right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is important too, because
Mhm.
that's how you get to that mastered version of whatever the song is going to be and
Mhm.
whatever the world is going to hear.
Yeah.
So everybody need that person in the end that can really
Mhm.
hear what they need to hear, especially in the mix.
Right.
But so at that point, if you're doing it for the choir, and
Mhm.
then now you are saying to yourself, I want to put my own albums out,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
how many of albums did you put out under you and what you were
Under
completely
under
directing?
under my label, I've released 5 albums. Um,
Okay.
I've released 5 albums, and that was the choir was the first one. But I've released 4 others since then. Um, Went through a few years where actually it's kind of a crazy testimony, but when God sent me to South Carolina 20 some years ago, my kids were small, and I had to kind of make a decision, to keep trying to pursue this like I was, because I was really pushing, or slow it down enough to raise my kids.
Mm.
And I took the road that a lot of artists sometimes don't like to take. Is slow it down enough to make sure they had everything they needed. Um, and that's what I did. I slowed it down, made sure I worked my 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, 7, whatever, just to make sure that my kids had everything they need to grow up to be healthy adults. And God did that. And now that my children are grown, and got me a grandbaby, thank God for that. But now that my children are grown, God is kind of putting me back into what I started years ago.
Gotcha. So it's that break, and inevitably, a life break, right?
Life break.
The good thing is that you came back to it because yeah, there's very few people who come back from that
Mm-hmm.
particular space when it comes down to their gift, because a lot of people don't believe that their gift can get them where they don't have to worry about that particular portion, right?
Right.
um but we all get tested in that space.
Yes.
It doesn't matter like what genre of music that you're doing when it comes down to your livelihood or however you, especially as men, because our
Mm-hmm.
pride. Now I will say there's a whole generation of new men that they don't care. They'll live with a person
They
on their
did.
couch. They'll do all that extra stuff. I'm not from that generation, right?
No.
Like I don't even feel right not being able to contribute
Right.
in a certain way, right? So I can't even let my kids slow me down, right? Because at the end of the day, my job it for y'all is to
Mm-hmm.
be here for y'all, but I can't be what y'all want me to be. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And I think that's the hardest part about being a man, is that you have to be willing to take that on the chin, right? Because that doesn't come with an award. It don't come with no pat on the back. Matter of fact, it ain't even going to really be recognized. The only time it'll be recognized is if somebody make you mad enough where you got to start popping your joint and have to remind people what you talking about.
Right.
Like you got
Right.
to, sometimes you got to, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, the sacrifice won't be recognized, because as men, it's always going to be attached to, well, you're supposed to.
Right. Right.
This is what a man's supposed to do. But no, we're supposed to follow God
Mm-hmm. Got to
first.
follow God. Got to follow
But
God.
they'll skip right over that if they're saying follow God is me being in that studio. Follow God is get a job. No, it ain't, because now I'm going to work for the devil. Because the most of the Fortune 500 companies, once you research who the CEOs is and everything else, you kind of feel like, yeah, I'm getting paid by the person that I'm talking about.
Yeah, most definitely that.
You get what I'm saying? So You know, but at that particular point in time, man, the good thing is that you came back, bro. There's so many people who are not back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and I've seen it both ways. You know, and it ain't no pat on the back or nothing for it. For me, it's just I did what I had to do, and thank God I did it. You know, because I've
Yeah.
seen so many broken relationships with fathers and sons and fathers and daughters because of the fact, you know, dad was pushing, trying to get somewhere, but never had time for them.
Us.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know, later on in life, one thing about kids, they can remind you of some of things sometimes. So you know,
Yeah.
you're thankful that you know you took that time to do what you had to do to make sure your family was secure, make sure everybody
Mm-hmm.
was good, and then you thankful that God is giving you another opportunity to step out on it
Step
again.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
so it's a two-way street for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's never, and I don't ever feel bad about it or feel like I should have done this or that. I am just
True.
thankful. I'm thankful that I'm healthy. You know, I have my right
Yeah.
mind, and that I have an opportunity to throw my my fishing rod back out there.
Back in the, yeah.
Yeah, and try it again. So it's just
Yeah,
a
man.
lesson, and it matured me. I mean, my mindset is different from when I first started to where I am now. You know, I have a
Mhm.
different outlook on it 100%. So I'm
And you
very
got
thankful.
a relationship with your children.
Oh man, wonderful relationship with my children. They
You see
love
what I'm
their dad,
saying?
and I love them. And I mean, ain't nothing I can't ask them, and ain't nothing they can't ask me. So God did that. God did that.
That's why I say it's so important, because so many people's lives their children can't be involved.
Right, right, right.
Right, whatever that pursuit is, so that's why so much of their time gets separated from their children, because their children can't be involved in what they're doing, because it's not a place for children, right? But then you got people who are creatives like us, who do music and filming and stuff. Your children can be involved, right?
Right.
And you can also give them a sense of what it takes to want to pick up something extra in life. Don't just count on just one thing. Be able to pick up a instrument, or learn how to use lighting or cameras or whatever, because what I was always told is that a musician will always have a job.
Yeah.
Out of all the different trades in the world, a plumber, an electrician, and a carpenter, a brick mason, and a musician,
Musician.
they
Yes.
will always
Mm-hmm.
And a
be able
mechanic.
to, and a mechanic, my bad. they will always be able to make a living. So that's why I say, man, so thankful for the parents who push their children to learn an instrument, or you know what I'm saying, something like that, man.
Yeah, I have a son right now that's does music. It's Jay Glock that's his name on Instagram, but talented as all get out. I mean, just run circles around his daddy even now. I mean, just talented. But thank God for it, because he watched me growing up, and he took it on, and I got a daughter that sings praise and worship. So it's just a blessing.
A
He
natural
plays
progression.
gospel music as well, your son?
He does both. He actually does a little R&B and a lot of different music. He, when we was coming up, your mom and them, I'm a Pentecostal boy. So
Gotcha.
a
Me
lot
It
of
too.
made y'all,
I was raised Pentecostal too.
yeah, so a
of
lot of
course.
jobs, a lot of things, man, we didn't do. You just
Yeah.
wanted our, we couldn't do, and then our conviction wouldn't let us do. But you learn better as you go on that there's nothing
True.
wrong with having a musical career,
Yeah.
but the way we
See,
was raised,
we was taught coming up not to. It was a sin to stray into the
there
secular
you go.
secular
You had
world.
that. You had to have it. Was if it won't church,
Exactly.
you was going
But
to
not
hell.
today, because God created it all. The devil has done nothing. He's not a creator.
Right.
He's an imitator.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
everything that you hear, love songs, ballads, whatever, that came from God.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I like that's why I think music is so important, because sometimes it connects you because it's the one thing that's out there where your visual, like it's not about what you see, it's about the way you hear and you interpret what you're hearing. And then that gives you the visual of what you see, right? I noticed that ever since the Michael Jackson movie has came out, his music has spiked, right? But the thing that's coming back from everybody is like, man, I didn't know that. Let me find out who wrote these songs. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people now. Because then now they're like, Dad, he was really saying something. Like these lyrics is great. Like not just the fact that he was a great entertainer. People miss the fact that because he could dance so well and entertain so well, that the songs were so well written that people forget about it until now. They don't see him. They saw a movie. Right. And so when you saw the movie, then you go back and check the music out. Now you just listening to the music. It's like, oh
yeah, this is something. Yeah.
It's like, yo, he was talking about so much stuff. Even when he addressed racism and they don't care about us. Most people didn't even care, didn't think about it because the video was so like visually aesthetic because he kept jumping in and out of different cultures, right? So it made people be like, yo, the video was dope. But then now they listening to the song like, hold up.
Yeah, listen to these words. Yeah.
He was talking about us. They don't like us. Like, and so that's why I say lyrics is the most important part of a song to me, as much as the music is, like the beat or whatever, the soundtrack. But the lyrics though, y'all, it's that's the word. You hear those words whenever you don't hear the music. You hear the words of the song, right? Dang. So let me ask you this, man. Whenever did you ever get inspired to write any other music outside of gospel? We know you didn't do it. But did you get inspired though?
I've tried. I've actually tried to sit down and think of something now. Some jingles, I've wrote a few jingles, but it just don't seem to come to me that way. It's most of the time it's in a gospel genre that actually comes to me. I've sit down and legitimately tried to put some stuff together and be like, man, that's corny. That don't sound like this. Realize, man, okay, God, I hear you. Throw that piece of paper.
The Lord saying, get back in your lane, get back in your lane.
Yeah. But I think that's important too, because that means that your gift is for those people who's going to be along that line, right? So that must mean that you got a great balance in the gospel music, right? Like even in gospel, like I know a lot of motivation can come from gospel music, right? It can really make you be able to, prepare yourself for the next day or the next thing, depending on, what song it is. And then there's those that'll make people cry. They get emotional, right? They just, they start to think about everything else that's going on in life and they get sad and they get emotional, right? But it's not very few times where you get, say like, okay, well, I don't know if he's considered gospel for everybody, but Kirk Franklin, right? You'll take him where he'll come up and he'll have people stomping and dancing and, where that could be considered praise and worship. But then there's some churches who say, nah, that's too close to the club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I have an interesting take on the Kirk Franklins and the Ty Tribbett's of the world.
Yeah.
I really appreciate those guys, and I'm gonna really say it like this, because Kurt probably started somewhere along the lines of when I did. Just his stuff kind of just took off, but that was God too, because before Kurt, it was the big choirs, and it was a certain sound, and it was like, where else can this thing go? Because it felt like it was at the end. This is what gospel is. This is it. Then God inserts a Kirk Franklin that breaks all of that and starts a whole new thing. Then you get to a certain place with Kurt, seem like, okay, we can't go no further. Then God sends a Ty Tribbett in there that breaks all of that. So it lets me know exactly who it is that's orchestrating it, that God is orchestrating this. And if you ain't careful, you start thinking that you understand it, God gonna send something else.
And it's going it's going to flip it and flop it, and because look at Fred Hammond, like all his songs sound like R&B records. None of his songs, and unless you're listening to it, you won't know until you actually listening to the words. But the way that he writes, the way that he sings, and the beats or the music that he picks, everything sounds like a well-written R&B record, but it's not. Right? It's all gospel. So you're right. Every time you try to box God in, and then it's the audience too, because Kirk messed around and got those young adults in the church where they wasn't in the church. You know, them young ones was, as soon as they got old enough, they was out of there.
That's God's work.
All them quartets and those choirs had it looking like a senior citizen rally in the church, yo.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just watch God do it. You know, like you can't put your handcuffs on God.
No.
You know, and
we will never know God.
Never.
People think they know God. You don't know God.
You don't know God.
And the thing about you don't ever know what God's going to do, who God's going to use.
Right.
So you don't know God. How you gonna know the Creator?
You can't. You can't.
You never know
Him. And I tell folks all the time, stop judging the Creator by the servants.
Exactly.
We trying, but He's the Creator. So stop looking at me saying this one ain't right, that one ain't right, this one ain't right. You can't judge the Creator by the servants.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, the master is the master.
But that's the foulest part about this, right? Is that's how you get you become judged that way because of your connection to the Creator, right? Because people feel like because you're connected to him or you say that, then this is who you're supposed to be. When he never said that. You know what I'm saying? He never said that. And then even when it comes down to Jesus, like I noticed that in the sense of the way people interpret him, they say he's God in the flesh, which, if people want to say that, that's cool too. It's just that Jesus on earth never created. And I think that's the difference where we got to separate it, because what he did was he practiced the creation, but he did not create. And God was the creator. So a lot of times people leave out God and hold it only to a Jesus standard. And they forget that Jesus was following what God was telling him, not the other way around. But most people, they don't get that part. They stop at Jesus and then they're gone. They like, yo, that's it. I don't have to. They only got to say God's name when it's attached to Jesus. They don't understand that he's the way to, but you gotta focus on what God is telling you. Jesus not walking around dropping people stuff in their ear. He told, if you followed what he lived for, then you understand he's not floating around whispering in your ear, all right, go back to rapping. And then disappearing again, go back to singing. That ain't Jesus. Jesus did his part. Like when you get those downloads,
right hand of the Father.
Come on. What more do they want Jesus to do? Like I look at people like, listen, y'all got to stop calling the man. What more do you want him to do? Right now, this is about your relationship with God. He showed y'all what a relationship with God would do. You could do the same thing. Get your relationship with God, and then understanding your relationship with God is not always going to come based on maybe religion, maybe the church, or maybe some people like to go to people who tell fortunes. You know how that go? Like whatever it is in the spiritual space, people are trying to find whatever that thing is.
Well, the only piece with that is he did tell us that he was the way. So, we can go all these ways, but we got to go the way. And the way is through Jesus Christ. But like you said, he didn't create. He's the way. He's the way to the Father.
Right. Way. And then I think about this part too, whenever he says that we're made in his image and we're God's too. The lowercase g, right? It's because we all are created. So think about this, even in the sense of the music that you create, it all comes from a thought, right? And they said that's what God did. He said, yo, let there be this, let there be that, let there be this. All these are thoughts. And he said that he spoke it into fruition and it came. It's the same thing we do on our end. Whenever we create these songs, all these things come out of our head. They come out from a thought. And then they wind up on a tape behind you or a CD behind you. That's the creation, because you were able to take that thought and create it. That's the part that people miss about their portion of understanding about being made in the image of God.
Okay.
You're made in his image, right? Because of the way that you are a creator. God created, right? And in the sense of us being made in his image, that means that we are creators, even when it comes down to our children. Now, we understand that we don't create the spirit, but we create the body that the spirit inhabits. The only way a spirit can walk this earth is through a human body, right? Or through a body. We can't, now they cloning people and all that other stuff, but you know what I mean.
I got you.
You get what I'm saying? Come through. So what I'm saying to you is that in every aspect of the word, we are creators.
Right.
Now, how often do people really understand that portion of their life to understand where they are, to follow Jesus the right way or to follow the teachings the right way?
Right.
A lot of them can't follow the teachings the right way because they're not in line with who they are.
And I'm gonna answer to that, because what happens is our enemy, the devil himself, he has a master plan to keep you distracted, to where you'll never find yourself as long as you walk in his space.
Facts.
You'll never find yourself, and before you know it, you a 60, 70-year-old person still don't know what your purpose was.
Exactly.
You spent your whole life walking in the wrong space.
That's right.
And I think that's the biggest downfall for a lot of people. You never tried to find the right space. You never tried to find it.
People don't realize that our lives has to line up with the word of God.
Yes, it does.
It has to line up with the word of God. God has so many blessings for us, but because our lives are out of alignment, a lot of the times we're unable to receive those blessings that he has for us. So, but our lives have to line up with his word, because he's already given us all. He's given it to us. But we have an enemy that is blocking everything. It's a daily fight to get what God has given us because of the enemy. But most of the time, it's more our fault than the enemy.
I was going to say that, Gloria. You know what? You're right. Because a lot of times it don't even be the enemy. The enemy gets so much credit for stuff he ain't even doing.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, a lot of times, like we said before, people feel like they supposed to already have something already, especially if they compare their life to other people. Right? Yeah. If they do the same thing that another person does and another person is famous or whatever they got, they would think that they wasn't supposed to be there. They don't understand God's timing either. Right? Like, just because that person got to wherever they was going before you don't mean that you're any less of a talent or, or your space ain't coming. But age, all these other things play a part in why a lot of us don't reach our full potential. I'm only saying us because, there's so many creatives, right? But that's why they don't reach their highest potential, because they age themselves, they time themselves, they take every little flaw that they have and they calculate that as a means of why they shouldn't have or why they cannot. And people believe that it's a certain time frame. They think that between this age and this age, if you don't make whatever it is you're doing, boom, let it go. But they forget God's timing in your life. Like, yo, I'm not good. I'm like, I know the stuff in the Bible, but I'm not good at calling out scriptures and stuff. What's my man name who he didn't have a baby until he was like 80 something years old or something? Oh no, 100 and something. Abraham. His first kid, he was 100. He was like 100 years old, wasn't he?
She was 90. She was 90 years old when the wife finally had a child. When the wife finally had a child.
Now imagine how much practicing he did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For 90 years. I'm thinking about this though, y'all. Like, and I really, people think I be trying to be funny when I say that. No. Yeah, think about all the practicing. He never stopped practicing. He stayed in the gym. Right? He stayed practicing. He never stopped practicing. And then boom, look what happened. It took 90 years to most people, but then for him, he like, bam. I knew it was going to happen, even though he kept trying. Sometimes I think some people miss certain things in the Bible because they taking it literally. So now you got people out here that's like almost 90 talking about, I think we should try to have a kid. No. That ain't the point. That's not what they meant. Like, no. Like, stop it. Yo, no. He didn't mean that.
That was a good
one. But that's the thing that I'm saying. And when it comes down to certain things, when people read, and when you said that, Gloria, about it has to line up with the word of God, what people got to understand is that you can't try to copy the people in the Bible. You have to take what they went. You got to learn their lessons.
Learn the lessons.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Not try to find yourself in them. Too many people try to find themselves in people in the Bible, but the people in the Bible didn't have a Bible. So
Right.
that's not what you're supposed to do. But you said that right, Gloria. Lining up with the word of God is understanding you and God, not
Yes.
Abraham or Lot or whoever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know how many people wish their wife would turn into salt? They can't wait. They like, yo, turn around. They telling the wife to turn around. They can't wait.
God is the Father, and just like your children, each one of your children are different. So you have to treat them differently because they're not like the other child. He knows every one of us, and he knows how to handle us differently, how to deal with us because we are different. I'm not like my brother. I'm not like my sister.
Right. He made us different.
Yeah, and made us to the point where we so different that it's like a piece of a puzzle that it could still fit when you with the right line, like-minded people. Just like how you were saying when it came down to producing records, you could tell people, and then this person played this person did that. Like-minded people, all sharing in the same spirit, right? You know, and I think that's how it works. We're connected. Everybody is connected to the same consciousness, is what I believe, right? I don't believe that people are not. I think all of us are connected consciously. I just think that it's people like y'all said earlier who make certain choices to follow certain fleshly desires over their spiritual, or whatever comes to them spiritual. They like to attack what's in their flesh. So that's why you got so many people who are some of the most amazing talents, but they on drugs or alcohol or whatever.
Right. Well, and a lot of it happens with, and it's kind of sad to say it like this, but some children have very little choice even in the matter, because mom and dad or mom or dad or whoever never gave them a choice, and you just have to hope and pray that somewhere along the line, the light happens, they see, hey man, this ain't quite the way, because so many is raised and brought up in an environment that's just hard to be creative, like you said. And it's hard to know your purpose because you see so much other stuff in the process.
It's true.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the hardest part. Like me, I was raised in a home that was a good home, mother and a father. So I was able to go to school and come home and have a hot meal and all those things that helps you grow to be something. Well, a lot of people just don't have that opportunity. Ain't no food at the house, ain't no father, ain't no mother. They living on the street. So many different things that keep them from being everything that they supposed to be. It's
but then a lot of them be good at what they're doing to survive. I think everyone has a certain level of genius, man. At whatever level they're in, it's just that their environment allows them to, they figure out what their genius is through their environment, unfortunately, right? You have a whole bunch of people who've been great successful at being a drug dealer that could have ran a Fortune 500 company. Same mindset, just the wrong product, right? Different product. right mindset, wrong product, right? But they was used, like you said, based on their environment. Which goes back to what we said in the beginning about the difference about being able to be brought up in a home where instruments are available versus a person who has to stumble upon them by just being in certain places, right? That happens. And I think for everybody, man, I think me personally, I'm thankful, right, for people like you and Gloria. I tell her that all the time, but I'm saying for those y'all, we had Arcos on here, which is two brothers, young black brothers, and they do jazz, man. In this day and age, right, where everybody is chasing that R&B, or nothing wrong with it, but you know what I'm saying. Two young brothers, they decided to attack jazz. They do acid jazz, which is more like up-tempo contemporary beats, but all instrumental with you know, melodic tunes on top, and then some songs they don't even have any lyrics to it. It's just the music,
Just
right?
the music, right?
Yeah. But just the fact that them brothers were allowed to think outside of the box to say that I want to do jazz, because they pick up their instruments. They could play for anybody, you know what I
Right.
mean? But the fact they chose the jazz genre, it's amazing to me, because they're young. They're like 24, 25 or something like that. I think.
In the early 20s.
Yeah. And they're doing jazz, bro.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's so much in us, but people have to be allowed the opportunity to
Gotta
do
have a
so.
space. Yeah, gotta have a space, and I think the most important, and God always does this. Somewhere along the line, He sends somebody to tap on your shoulder. You know, he always gonna send somebody to tap on your shoulder and say, "Hey, don't go that way. Go this way." You know,
Yep.
he just he's so good like that he always have a way of kind of
directing you.
Yeah, getting
Just
you. Yeah, and if you so stubborn that you're gonna go that way anyway, then he
let you go.
He let you go, but he gonna get you back on track. For some people, they got to sit down for a little while, right? Some people might have to go to jail a little bit. Some people might have to live in a car for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because you're being hard headed, but he gonna get you on track one way or the other.
No, he gonna keep trying. Okay, you done that. You know, hey, come on back.
You gotta eat. It's an easy way and it's a hard way, but you gonna get there.
Steve Harvey said it best. He said, you know, God will hit you in the ear first, and if that don't work, he hit you in the mouth.
There you go. Either way it go, you're gonna get hit. Which hit do you want?
Which one you want? Which one you want?
Man. So we got a few minutes, man, but we want to get into your album before we do that. Let's do that, man. Let's talk about the new album real quick. What's on it? Who's on it? You know what I mean? What it's about. Let's get to it.
Okay. Yeah, the name of the album, and this is just an old CD copy of it, it's called Unannounced. Come from Proverbs 29:11 when it says a fool tells all his business, but a wise man keeps it until the right time. So that's what Unannounced is based on. Just letting the Lord do it and not running your mouth all the time, telling everything. But God gave us the music. I've been writing this music. Some of this stuff is 20 years old, but he finally put the final pieces on it here at the end and set it all up. Pulled some musician friends I had out of the North Carolina area, brought them in, and my singers are here in the South Carolina area. Just some singers that I've met over the years, people that are serious about doing something. You know, and a lot of them is artists in their own right. You know, they got albums out and different things. So pulled everybody together, and we came up with Unannounced.
Dope. Yeah. We in the North Carolina area too. So that's dope. So with Unannounced, how many tracks?
It's 6 tracks on the album. So it's more of an EP. Yeah, more of an EP. 6 tracks, and we're looking to do the second half or another piece of it to actually complete it at one point. But it's 6 tracks, and man, we're real happy with God, with what he did with it. Real happy.
Gotcha. That's so dope. So any music videos or any first single from
tonight? If you're the audience, if you're listening on WGGS16.com, which is you can go online and look at it. We're gonna be debuting the album tonight on TV. Yeah, God gave me that idea. Instead of doing a concert at a church, we're gonna debut it on the television station.
That's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. Are y'all still going to do the live performance at the churches and stuff?
Do something at the church and do something big in that space. But this is going to kind of be the kickoff for it. But we've been blessed so far. We've done really well with it. A lot of radio stations have picked it up and started to spin a little bit of it. So we're thankful for that.
Okay, bad. First single, is there a certain song?
Yes, it's called Jesus is Alive. That's the single off the album Jesus is Alive. Got a young man by the name of Kenny Smith out of the Spartanburg, South Carolina area singing it. But I wrote that song years ago, and it's pretty much telling everyone that Jesus is alive. And did you know that Jesus was alive? Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great. So, can people like, are you on like streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon,
Yep,
all that
they can.
places and stuff
You can
like that?
pick it up at Amazon. You can pick it up at Apple, YouTube. You can go out there and watch it on YouTube. Just put unannounced. Elder Jonathan McLaughlin. You can go to my website. It's jmacmusic.net to check it out. You can buy the hard copies actually off my website if you're interested in a CD. But you can go to any of the social media platforms and download it, and that would be wonderful to go download it, and let's push this gospel.
All right, bet. So I hope all of y'all watching, and we'll watch the playback that y'all that are in the gospel music. Y'all go support the brother, go check it out. At least do us a favor and just leave him a comment and let him know that you heard it and that you appreciate the music, because it looks like he collaborates with a bunch of artists. So I know a lot of artists follow this page and follow me. So if any of you guys may be looking to collab, you might be open to coming on over and sharing some of y'all spiritual worship and y'all gifts with the brother, and y'all move it around. Now he letting y'all know he only doing gospel, so don't come up there trying to get him to do a remake of a Prince record. It's not gonna work.
Right.
It's not gonna work. Y'all want him to do Kiss Over. It's not gonna work. He can't do it. He said he tried. It don't work. So leave him alone. Come with Jesus on your mind, yo. Wear it up. Because that's what y'all getting out of my man, yo. But I definitely appreciate you jumping on, man. It's a great conversation. It's always good to hear from people who are not afraid to be themselves. So if there's anything that you would like to leave people with, any words of encouragement, anything of inspiration, or anything that is just something that you like to make sure people know, what would that be?
It's important. This is one of the things I was actually going to say earlier, when we was talking about my shyness and, the fear. One thing I've learned about our Lord is that he gave us all a handicap. And I know that word don't sit with some people, but he gave us all a handicap. But the reason he gave it to us so we can overcome it to be what he wants us to be. Whatever it is, whether you're not good with money, whatever your handicap is, you got one. But he wants us to overcome it, just like Moses said he couldn't talk. But by the time he got to Pharaoh, he did all the talking. So you have to learn to overcome the handicaps in your life to be all that God wants you to be.
Amen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I like that a lot. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, man.
I know,
that's right.
Nah,
for real. You got to, because everybody is dealing with some type of insecurity or something in their life, or just a personality trait that they feel like is theirs. Like you said, whether you're shy or, you like to be in the background. Because I'm telling you, it comes with people don't even know. Just because you're so much in the front, they think that's what you like. They don't know that you are over every day. You're sitting up here like, oh God, I gotta.
Exactly.
You're overcoming on a daily basis. Like you just make it look
easy,
like comfortable and easy, right? But that's not you. Like you really want to be in a cut, chilling somewhere, just relax, right? You know what I mean? But I thank God for that, man. I thank God for that conversation, man, because I hope that's what a lot of people get from just what you said, man. Was first of all, not being afraid, right? Believing in yourself, not giving up, and always going to God first.
Amen.
Because that was everything that you in a nutshell that you were saying. Like you always gave God the credit for everything, for your pause, for your go, for your stop, for your rewind. You gave God the credit for all that, and your life has came out good. No matter what another person may think, your life is great because your kids love you, right? Number one, as a dad.
Number one, as a dad.
And he's doing what God called him to do.
Exactly.
It's nothing any better than being in God's perfect will for your life.
That's correct.
Being his permissive will, he will allow that too. But you won't get the blessings like you will you won't get the blessings that you would get in his perfect will.
That's right. That's right. And the only way to do that is to move forward. Don't let your handicap stop you. You got to show God that you want it.
Exactly. So look, with all of y'all out there, I hope y'all was inspired by this conversation, and I hope that y'all actually really take that into consideration what the brother said. You know what I mean? Come get over your handicaps, because it's what it's there for. It's not there to handicap you. It's there to give you a means of something to get over. And if you could get over your own self, then you could get over anything anybody else will do for you or to you. I think that's the most important part. So with that being said, y'all don't go nowhere. At the end, I'm gonna let my outro play, and then we'll talk a little bit behind the scenes. But for all of y'all out there, make sure y'all do this like I tell y'all each and every week. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until the next Convo Corner, I want to say peace.
Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah.